Thank you, Pierre, and thank you for all you do for so many organizations, including the Reporters Committee, which you've led so beautifully. And thanks to all of you. It is such a special honor to be here in an organization that I have valued and spent so many years celebrating and enjoying and appreciating, but here to speak on behalf of all my colleagues at NBC News and MSNBC to present the RTDNF. You did change the name some years ago. First Amendment Clarity Award to a truly spectacular group of journalists whom we like to call our road warriors. Throughout the 2018 midterms, these 18 correspondents and reporters battled their way through the battleground states, covering local, state, and national races for NBC News, MSNBC, and NBC News Digital. At a time when our politics are more polarized than ever, and the media often under attack, this intrepid team traveled from one corner of the country to another, illuminating the issues of most concern to voters and bringing the stories of the American electorate to NBC and MSNBC. The great David Broder used to call it door knocking. It means not just going to rallies and not just talking to politicians. Through it all, they were directed and inspired by Daphne Linzer, managing editor for politics for NBC News and MSNBC, and by the incredible Rob Rivas, senior director for political coverage. So please turn to the screens to learn more about our road warriors.
When they hear the sound of the drum, they'll be saying, oh Lord, here they come.
We've got our road warriors all over the country on the campaign trail.
Come on, let's go.
Des Moines, Iowa.
Bridgeville, South Carolina, Tennessee.
Wisconsin.
I'm on the Mexican side of the border.
Here we come.
You had wheeled your oxygen tank out to vote, and you're wearing your Beto t-shirt.
How do you win as a Democrat in North Dakota?
So you want to check on the president.
Talk about what this means in terms of your political future here.
It could be historical for you.
Minnesota really could be one of the bellwethers tonight.
This is a part of Texas that is changing dramatically.
Is Reddit ready for the midterms?
How many of you have been lifelong Republicans?
What are you expecting to see in there?
This district is a conservative bastion here in California.
Do you guys think that people in Washington kind of understand what life's like out here?
Oh, no, you kidding me?
Voters are saying they care more about health care. A lot of immigrants are here. Immigration is at the top of their list.
What did we not hear? Donald Trump, Democrats, or Omarosa?
At this point, it's still a very tense situation.
A crisis that is bursting at the seams.
Yeah, here we come. Hey, here we come. Hey, here we come. Here we come.
Now you know why, or just a little bit of why we're so proud of them. So please, we want to welcome Casey Hunt and Jacob Soboroff to accept the award, along with some of their teammates, Mike Memoli, Morgan Radford, Ali Vitale, Chris Jansing, Shaquille Brewster, Mariana Atenzio, and Heidi Prisbilla. And I also want to salute Vaughn Hilliard and Garrett Hake. They would have been here, but right now they are en route to Iowa because Beto O'Rourke had some other plans. But we could not be more proud of this team for what they accomplished in 2018 and for how they are already diving headfirst into 2020. Casey, Jacob, all of you, come on up here. And this is not even the most important thing that Casey announced today, if you were watching Morning Joe.
She's expecting a baby road warrior. Give it up for Casey Hunt. Also, just real quick, give it up for Andrea Mitchell, the one and only, the legend, our mentor, all of our mentors. Thank you, Andrea. On behalf of all of us at NBC News and MSNBC, especially all of my fellow road warriors, hi, Mariana. Thank you to the RTDNF for this First Amendment Clarity Award tonight. We are extraordinarily grateful that you are acknowledging our work and to be here with all of our fellow honorees. This award in particular is about providing context and clarity to the news, and I want you guys to know that NBC News and MSNBC's dedication to depth and shift away from access-oriented boys-on-the-bus election coverage is no accident. It is years in the making, and it is why this particular group is standing here tonight. I want to give you guys a little backstory. In 2016, Andy Lack and Noah Oppenheim and Phil and Janelle and Daphne, and I am sure many, many others, decided to officially launch the NBC News Road Warriors. We were a team of 5 eager, maybe a little bit crazy journalists who spent our days traveling to every corner of the United States to report on what became the election of Donald Trump. Casey and I were in that first group with Hallie Jackson and Kristen Welker and Katie Tur, and what started with 5 of us has today evolved into 18 of us, what you see here and a whole lot more. As you can tell, Casey and I got held back and asked to do it again, which makes us super senior road warriors, but we would not trade it for the entire world. I really do think this is the best job in all of American politics and political reporting. All of us are united by one common goal, and that is to answer a very simple question: what matters? And literally, for me, this year, I should say, that was my assignment. My boss, Betsy Corona, who is here in the house tonight, give it up for Betsy. She sat me down and she said, with the house on the line, why don't you and Arnie and Mitch, the incredible producers I work with, drive around as many toss-up districts as you can, spend a few days at a time, and ask people what matters to them. And I said to Betsy, that's it? That's all I'm going to do? And she said, yeah. And I said, okay. And that's what we did. That is literally how we decided to explore the issues that would actually decide who controls the House of Representatives. It turns out those issues were almost never the ones that we talk about on a daily basis on television, Mueller or Manafort or even the border, where I spent a lot of time this year. Nor is it a blind allegiance to Republicans or Democrats. Part of the reason in an election year with record turnout, tens of millions of people still stayed home. Americans are not shy about telling you that, and to them, their struggles are what is front and center. We heard all kinds of stories, like the connection I saw between shuttered paper mills and the opioid crisis in Maine, crumbling public transit on Staten Island, literally costing workers paychecks, the lack of jobs at the Texas border when in the Eagle Ford Shale to the north, things are booming. I traveled to countless cities, 7 toss-up districts, all but one of them flipped, and with them, the House. And because our job, all of our jobs, was to ask what matters, and with the backing of our network leaders, our team is able to go to the source and not rely on polls, and we can say we truly understood why what went down. It is a privilege to get to do this job, to add the clarity and the context to our crazy daily news cycle, and for all of us as a team to be recognized simply for listening to people whose voices are too often not heard. And with that, I want to bring up my friend and my colleague, Casey.
Thank you again to the RTDNF for this incredible honor. And to echo Jacob, we would not be here tonight without the incredible support and real dedication of the NBC News leadership and what they showed to this project. Doing something like this takes an awful lot of resources, and whenever we needed them, they were there for us. So we really, really appreciate that. And I am also so honored to have been placed in such good company with colleagues who are being honored by this award, people that I have been very privileged to learn from. Andrea, thank you. Chris Jansing, who was incredibly gracious to me when I first started in television, as well as to be inspired by the hardworking, young, up-and-coming journalists who are putting in their first miles on the campaign trail. It's incredibly fun to watch just how much you have grown as you have all done this. I also want to say a special thank you to all of the producers who backed us up, who are not up here on stage tonight, because we would not have been able to do any of this without them. And to Rob Rivas and Christopher Nelson on the politics desk. Couldn't have done it without you either. A personal thank you from me to Alex Moe, who traveled on the trail with me. We're here tonight honoring the First Amendment when, and a theme tonight has been that is just under incredible threat. And when I think back to why it was I wanted to be a journalist in the first place when I was a kid, it seemed like this noble profession, right? A civic duty, a noble way to spend your life. But it's lately taken on this more sort of urgent tone. And, I wonder what the 16-year-olds of today are thinking when they see their president call journalists the enemy of the people and when they're literally under attack. And I know we're all thinking of the journalists at the Capitol newspaper that have also been honored here this evening. I hope that those kids are still going to look forward and choose this as a profession that they think is something that's worthy and honorable, despite all of the rhetoric. For me, it's always been about trying to figure out who are the people that want to lead us. Are they honest? Are they worthy of the public trust? And to try to give people tools that they need to make the right decisions about what to do with their votes, which is, very precious to them. And, Jacob talked a lot about talking to the voters. I do also think, we got a chance to be out there with the candidates. When I cover Congress every day, watching what they do there can very often be explained by going home with them to their districts and taking a look at the pressures that they face. And, being able to watch presidential candidates under stress, see how they run from tough questions, or if they answer them, that's what we're really able to do by being out there day in and day out. And yes, Senator Klobuchar, we are coming for you. Jacob, of course, eloquently described, why meeting voters is important. I also think it's a chance for us to give people a sense of who we are as journalists and to make up their own minds instead of just listening to the rhetoric that we hear. So hopefully all of us have given some Americans at least a chance to do that. I know so many of you out in this room tonight have done that as well, and I think that is incredibly important in the face of this vitriolic rhetoric, because really it evaporates when you get a chance to have a face-to-face conversation with a real person. So my hope is that our work will continue to speak for itself and that our countrymen and women will continue to uphold the values that we are celebrating here tonight. So thank you very much for this honor.